This is a place for planting, for digging, for harvesting, for relaxing. It's a place to get your hands dirty, but most of all, it's about having fun. And that's what you'll always have when you're in the garden with Doug Oster. You want a green thumb too, don't you? It would be a sad world without garlic. That's what my friend and great Pittsburgh artist John Oprasic always says. I love that saying. And today we're going to do one of my favorite jobs, which is planting garlic. Garlic out of the garden is just like anything else out of the garden. It's better than anything you're ever going to get in the store. Now this stuff came from my friend Tom Walker in Millvale, and he would love to sell you some garlic, I'm sure. But you can find it at any good nursery, and there's a great garlic farm right on the Ohio-PA border called Enon Valley Garlic. I'm sure they'd love to sell you some garlic. And so as I said, that is the trick to starting, is getting the right type of garlic. We're going to plant that next, but there's something in the way that we have to harvest first. Look at the size of those. This is the bed we're going to use for garlic, but we've got some peppers here, and I love experimenting. This is a pepper called Biquinho, and it's just a little hot pepper, and since they're so small, they're really a pain to harvest, but they have an amazing flavor. It's kind of a smoky, sweet, but definitely spicy. We're going to have James eat one in a minute and see what he thinks. I don't eat them raw. I just use them in cooking, but they're great. We've got a cold day today, and we've got cool weather coming. Peppers love hot weather. It's time to get them out. All I'm going to do is get these out of here, and I'm just going to pull them up. And when I get inside, I'm just going to hang them upside down, and hopefully they will ripen up. Why upside down? I don't know. That's just always the way I've seen it done. And what's cool about this plant is it puts on an early set of growth, kind of a low growth like this, and then they turn red, they're ready, and then it sprouts up with another set of growth. These are all green. They're still going to be great to eat, but you know, with peppers, it's always better to get them to their full maturity. And after we do this, we'll take these inside. I got a few super chili peppers too. That's another hot pepper I love. And then we'll put some compost down here and get ready to plant our garlic. Lots of peppers down here too. Here, James, see what you think. Still a couple of those peppers down there. I bet you they'll sprout up for us next year. Oh, perfect home for our garlic. The first variety we're growing is called Chet's Italian, and I've got 5 or 6 different varieties, which is fun. You'd be surprised at the different flavors of each garlic and the different strengths of each one. Some are really spicy right off the bat, some have a spicy finish, and that's one of the things I love about planting and using garlic from the garden. All we're going to do is put it in good compost here, about 3 inches down, 6 inches apart. And I use the biggest cloves. I keep the smaller cloves in the kitchen to use there like this. Well, that's pretty decent size. These are all pretty good looking cloves actually. But here's a little one that I would just use in the kitchen. Maybe eat it raw. Good for you. Well, look what we uncovered here in the garden. 2 woolly bear caterpillars, and the folklore on these for predicting the winter, the more brown orange you have, the milder the winter. The more black you have, the harder the winter. We've got all orange brown here. Now, I don't believe the folklore when it's all black, but when it's orange, that means a mild winter. I'll take it. All right, guys, you're going to go back in the garden and hide for the winter. You like garlic, Max? Really important to put a nice thick layer of straw on. Each one of those little cloves will become an entire head by July. And the other thing about growing your own garlic, when the crocus blooms, you get the greens. After that, you get this seed head called a scape. That is wonderful in the kitchen too. We have to remove it so that all the energy goes to the bulb, and then in July, we're picking those great bulbs. And when that happens next summer, I'll show you how to cure those and make them last all winter. And always remember to label your garlic so you know what you got in there, because it all looks the same in the spring. Nice penmanship. And this whole bed is Chet's Italian, so we'll know in the spring what it is. In 1998, I brought a truckload of plants from my old garden, and one of them was this horseradish, and I just stuck it in here just to hold it in place for a little bit. Now, I can never get rid of it. It's in a flower bed. I don't really want it here. Every time I dig it out, you always leave a little bit of that white root behind. There's nothing you can do about it, but we're gonna harvest some of this today and make our own horseradish. We've dealt with kind of all spicy things today, garlic and hot peppers, and now horseradish. And again, your own homemade horseradish is awesome, and it's easy to do. Oh yeah. If you've ever ground horseradish, you know why we're outside. If you haven't, it's because it's like tear gas when you put this in here. Actually, the friend who gave this first root to me 30 years ago, his grandfather played a little trick on him and ground up some horseradish, said, "Hey, smell this." And he smelled it and went, boom, right back on his head. So we're doing it outside. We've cut up these pieces, and we're just gonna throw them into a food processor. We're gonna use a little bit of water for texture, and you just kind of get a feel for that. We'll actually start right there in case I put too much water in. I can put more in to make it thicker. And a little bit of water. Smell it from here. And just about a teaspoon of vinegar. And that's it. Does anybody want to smell that? All right, looks good. We're gonna put that into a jar, and then we're gonna finish up. James looks like he might be taking some home. It's so great to still be working in the garden, this nice cool temperatures. Probably the last hurrah for these sweet potato vine and caladium. Next week, or maybe the week after, we'll be taking those out, showing how to store them. You know, Mr. Cheapskate, I want to store them all winter long. But check me out online. That's a place where you can see more blog posts and photos and stories and videos. Speaking of stories, I have a story that I've worked 3.5 years on about a garden program at a prison. And I hope you'll take a look at that. That's also a place where you can become part of my Everybody Gardens Garden Club and subscribe to my Everybody Gardens newsletter. I would love for you to be part of that. Until next week, I've got plenty of stuff to do in the garden. It's not over yet. We'll see you next week.
So what part of this do I
Just eat the very end and see how hot it is.
Just this end, like to how far in? Like to here?
There. Well,
That's pretty high. I got a couple seeds in there, I think. It's like a slow burn.
just like working with me.
It just creeps right up on you. Oh man, that's good. Oh, that's a hot part right there.